Do you have any guesses? I know no one really knows, but from what you know, do you have any guesses on the timeline about when all of this change? It's happening now, but when it's really going to skyrocket, or when people are going to have actual useful robots in their houses helping them? Is that next year, or are we still 3 years away from that?
I would say, like anything, it's going to start with the wealthy and then it's going to come down. But because these companies, you only need to trust them to be greedy. Because these companies want to sell to the mass market, you're not going to sell 3 billion of these, 8 billion of these. People are talking about there being more robots than humans in the next, 10, 15 years. You can't do that selling to anybody other than the average person, which means you have to drive the cost of these down, 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 down. I don't remember which of the Chinese dogs this is, but one of them is like $1,800. I mean, they're already very inexpensive. So if you think of the Optimus robot, Elon, I think, said 20K in like 3 to 5 years, if I remember correctly.
Okay.
So this is not long-term away. But the way that I think about AI impacting with the human psyche is that in 2025, there's going to be the great unnerving. 2025 is when people are going to see, the guy over at Salesforce, Mark Benioff, wasn't kidding when he said we're not hiring any more new developers in 2025. He has
Did he say
said
that?
Oh, yes. So that is a real PR statement out of Salesforce, one of the largest tech companies in the world. We will be hiring no new engineers in 2025. Now, part of that is because you can do so much more with AI. So if enough people do that, and another stat just to bring this home, there's been an increase in the amount of time it's taking people to find their next job. So unemployment used to take about 6 months and you could count on finding another job, which is why unemployment cycles are 6 months. You can apply for an extension, but people usually didn't. Now more and more people are extending. And some of that is going to be just, I don't want to go back to work. There's certainly that malaise in society right now. And then some of it's going to be Salesforce and other gigantic companies are laying people off, not hiring new people. And we're going to feel that more and more. So 25 is a year that I think people really go, wait a second, this is actually going to be a problem. 26 is when you start seeing like, factories are getting these humanoid robots. That's interesting. And so that used to be my job. Resentment now escalates. 27 is where, wealthy people have these in their homes. That's putting a lot of people out of work. You get a lot of anger about all the low-wage workers we supposedly let come in across the border.
Yeah, that's
and now they're not
happening.
even able to get those jobs. And so now they're just taking social resources. And so people are really going to get mad about that. Again, my hope is that they keep this pointed at the robots and not people. That would be better. So that's where I think you're at in 27. Starting in 28, these start becoming more and more ubiquitous. And my hope is that you start turning the tide at that point. But meaning that an average person now in the next, call it 4 to 5 years, is going to start to see benefit in their own life. Goods getting cheaper, more manufacturing being done in the US. And so, yes, we're not doing some of the more easily repeatable tasks, but new jobs are coming online and things that I can't predict right now, right? So, so far in human history, technology has always disrupted a generation, but ultimately brought on way more jobs. And so if you look backwards, your prediction should be that it will create disruption for a generation. Now, is that 10 years, 20 years? It's probably in that neighborhood, but then it will ultimately create just a mass amount of new jobs, just looking backwards. Now, AI is the first thing where I'm like, people aren't crazy if they say, no, this time's different.
Yeah.
It really may be different this time just because you're talking about intelligence and embodied intelligence. I would say you've got 3 years probably pretty safe. We can see reasonably well 3 years into the future. Beyond that, all bets are off.
Do you think in terms of education, people should be focused on sectors that we don't know are going to be wiped out by AI? Like, I'd be concerned if my kid wanted to go into accounting. I'd be like, I don't think there are going to be accountants. Law, now there's still going to be court cases and things, but for a lot of the legal positions, like, I don't know if that's a good idea either. Car washes, probably still a thing.
Car wash is definitely
laundry,
not.
probably still a thing. But
I don't know that you can name a thing where I would say, humans are going to be safe. Here's what I think is going to happen. This also depends on timeline because your daughter's 7. I'm going to say you got to give me 10 years before we have to worry about what. So now we're talking 10 years of this.
Yeah, who knows?
Oh my goodness. But let's look at that. So here's what I would say. there is going to be a massive market for human only. And so the right question is, what do you love enough? And are you willing to go down the path of human only things, doing that? Or do you want to go down the path of, I want to do this thing, but I'm going to be augmented by AI and robotics? And how far can I push that? And there'll be plenty of time to figure out what are the economic ramifications of all of this stuff. But right now, the thing I would encourage people to do is stay maximally flexible in your direction. So give yourself the most conceivable choice ever. So that means, and this gets into my whole viral post about why the American dream is dead, you want to make sure that you're not taking on a bunch of debt to go to college. That's going to be a problem. It's just way too easy to learn online right now. So you can learn basically anything online for free. If you need like the organization of something, then you've got things like what you're doing at Peterson Academy, what we're doing at Impact Theory University. You're going to be able to find your vertical anywhere. It doesn't need to be either of us. There are plenty of these things out there. So figure out which one of those, and it's going to be taught by somebody who's really done it. Like the days of it's only educators are over, because these teachers are going to go in, teach the course one time, and then they can keep doing their thing. But now you're getting the greatest lecture on that thing ever. And so you'll be able to amass an education very rapidly, very cheap, but you're going to have to be self-directed. And so that becomes one of the major bifurcations we're going to see. People that are self-directed and don't do stupid things like get in debt, they're going to be able to move in any direction. And they will have gotten so good at self-directed learning by that point, which will be an absolute superpower. They will have finally broken free of the traditional education system, which teaches you to be a good cog in the machine. And now look, it's scary because you've got to think for yourself, which if you decide to follow my lead and be a pugilist in your own YouTube and X comments, you will very rapidly see that what people get really angry about right now is, hey, Tom, if you say a thing, they don't say these words, but when you look at them through this lens, they suddenly make sense. Tom, when you say something, I'm going to live by that entirely. And if I can't, fuck you. And I'm like, bro, that's not how this is going to work. You're going to need to amass a bunch of people that you think have sincere, strong takes on a topic that matters. And they're going to tell you that sincere, strong take with the understanding that you're going to go aggregate a bunch of those. And you're going to use them all. I tell people, think of me like an AI. Point me at a problem, look at how I look at it, point 7 or 8 other people that you think have sincere, strong takes on that, look at it from all of those, think for yourself, come up with a synthesized, aggregated vision that's far more educated than any one of us, right? Because you've now aggregated all of us. And that, as long as each person is willing to update their thinking rather than be a tribal asshole that just doubles down because they said something in the past, which is just absurd in my opinion. If they do that, then they're going to win. But it's going to be the people that are looking to be told what to do that are not going to thrive. They'll be manipulated by the people creating the AI, who just say, this is how I want you to think about this topic. Nazis really were black women. So it's just going to be more of that, and they're going to get lost because their ideas don't have utility. They have acceptability, but they don't have utility. Over here, the self-learners are going to realize the only thing that you can benchmark off of, I have a goal, trying to get to that goal, and I'm going to try a bunch of different things and simply assess which one of these things actually move me to that goal faster. And then they will finally come to the only realization that matters, which is that you just need to run the scientific method, recontextualize for whatever you're doing over and over and over with a very clear sense of where you're trying to end up and an ability to assess the data and never blame anybody but yourself when you don't make progress.